and welcome to part 39 in my Japanese for Beginners series. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to express opinions, how to defend yourself, and how to explain yourself with to omoimasu and desu. And this lesson corresponds with page 270 of Genki Volume 1 textbook, but don't worry, even if you don't have the textbook, you'll still be able to follow along. では始めましょう。So the way you use des is you simply stick it to the end of your sentence. It'll usually follow an adjective or a noun or a verb. But why would you do this? So imagine this scenario. You are late for work because you overslept. And so you go into work and you say, sorry, I'm late, I overslept. Based off the grammar that we already learned, the way you would say this in Japanese is okurete sumimasen. Sorry, I'm late. Late, sorry. 寝坊しました。寝坊する is to oversleep, so 寝坊しました I overslept. And that's grammatically correct, but there's something missing there. You're basically making a statement. You're not really explaining anything. And that's where des comes in. Des, it can also be expressed with particle no, by the way. It is the explaining particle, basically. But it's also, I like to think of it as the explaining / defending yourself particle. So the way that you would rework that sentence with des is, 遅れてすみません. That part's the same. 寝坊したんです. So 寝坊したんです. I'm not just simply stating, I overslept. I am a robot. It is like, I'm defending myself or explaining myself. Oh, the reason why I am late is I overslept. So here's another example of des in action. If somebody were to ask you, どうしてピザがそんなに好きですか? Means, why do you love pizza so much? Or why do you like pizza so much? そんなに, to that degree of you, the listener. そんなに好きですか? And I would answer defiantly or proudly, 美味しいんですから. Because it's delicious, that's why. So I could just say 美味しいから, delicious because it's delicious. But I am explaining why I love pizza so much. This person was like, God, why do you love pizza so much? I'm like, dude, it's delicious, that's why. It's like I'm explaining myself and defending myself. So I use des. But you don't have to limit des to simply answering questions. If you watch anime, particularly slice of life or teen anime or anything, you probably run into a sentence something like this. 君のことが好きなんだ. So, I love you. That's why I act the way I do. It has that kind of vibe to it. If it's just 君のことが好きだ or 好き, it just means I love you. But if it's 君のことが好きなんだ, I'm kind of explaining and defending myself. So it sort of like has this, that's why I act weird around you, that's why. I love you, that's why. It has a kind of that's why vibe to it. And also note in the sentence that instead of desu, I use da, because that's plain. You can end it with nanda or nda. And also note that there is a na nda here. So the reason why there's a na before the and then the da is because it is a na adjective. Ski na nda. I can't say 君のことが好きんだ. Skin da. I skin you. Yeah, that's romantic. But you have to add a na before the desu, or in this case, da. You also have to add that if you're dealing with nouns. So brain confused. So I'm going to show you a handy dandy formula to remember when you add a na and when you don't. So if you have an e adjective or a verb in its plain form, not necessarily dictionary, it could be like, let's say if the verb is suru, it could be suru or shita or shitai. You end with just des. So if it's an e adjective, kawaii. So kawaii would just be cute, but 可愛いんです. I'm explaining, oh, because, or she's cute, that's why. Plain verbs, 食べるんです. 食べたいんです. 食べたんです. So if I'm saying 食べた, I ate. 食べたんです. If I add the んです, I'm explaining, oh, well, because I ate, or I ate, that's why. 食べたいんです. It's like, why are you eating that pizza? 食べたいんですから. Because I want to. That's why. So it doesn't have to just be the dictionary form of a verb, but it does have to be the plain version of the verb. I can't be like 食べますんです. That's weird and wrong. So plain form of a verb, any conjugation of that verb, des, no na. You add a na if it is either a na adjective or a noun. So 綺麗なんです because 綺麗な na adjective. 簡単なんです it's easy. 簡単なんです. A noun. パソコンなんです This is a computer, she said in an explainy kind of way. So here are a couple examples of sentences or exchanges that use the なんです ending. あの人、英語上手ですね. And then I might answer, カナダ人なんです. So the first person saying, that person is really good at English. And I'd be like, that's because they're Canadian, dude. It's like, I'm explaining. Yeah, of course they're good at English. They're Canadian. I mean, maybe they're French Canadian and then they wouldn't be good at English. But, you know, even French Canadians tend to have really good English. So now let's move on to と思います. So Japanese in general, they're linguistically much more vague than English. Like we do still have these vagaries in our English language, but in Japanese, it's linguistically explicit that you don't really want to be explicit. You don't want to make very bold statements one way or another. So と思います is great diplomacy. Just add と思います to a lot of things. And it basically means I think. So if you're using と思います after a plain form of a verb or an e-adjective, so it's the same rules as the んです. All you have to do is add と思います. But if you are adding と思います after a na adjective or after a noun, just as with んです, you have to add another character. And in this case, it's だ. So it's either just と思います or だと思います. And here are some sentences illustrating that. 彼女がかわいいと思います. I think she's cute. So it's an e adjective, so it's just と思います. There's no 彼女がかわいいだと思います. An anime character might say that, but normal people wouldn't say that. 旦那ちゃんの車が速いと思います. Here's another e adjective. So 旦那ちゃんの車が速い. My hubby's car is fast. と思います. I think my hubby's car is fast. それが一番いいと思います. E is another e adjective. Good. それ, that thing that you said, が一番, the number one e, 一番いい, the best. So that thing that you said or did or suggested is the best. と思います. I think that thing that you suggested or said is the best. But as I said earlier, if you want to make a sentence with a noun or a na adjective, you have to add だ before the と思います. So here's just a couple examples. 彼女がまじめだと思います. So まじめ is a na adjective that means like diligent, hardworking, a straight shooter. So I think she is a hard worker. 彼は教師だと思います. So 教師 is a noun. It means a teacher. So I think he's a teacher. 彼は教師だと思います. You wouldn't say 教師と思います. 教師だと思います. I think he's a teacher. And as I mentioned earlier, can you use と思います with verbs? Yes! And it's the same rule as with e adjectives. So you simply use the plain conjugation of any verb and add と思います to the end. So here are some sentences with verbs and と思います. 彼女は明日帰ると思います. So 彼女は, as for her, 明日, tomorrow, 帰ると思います. So it's a plain, it's a verb, so I don't have to say 帰るだと思います. Again, an anime character might talk like that, but normal people wouldn't. 帰ると思います. I think that she is going to come home tomorrow. 明日は tomorrow again, 本を読みたいと思います. So this たいと思います takes on kind of a different meaning. It's not I think I want to read a book tomorrow. It's more I think I'll read a book tomorrow. Yeah, I think I want to read a book tomorrow. That sounds like a good idea. I'd like to read a book tomorrow. 彼はゴミ捨てたと思います. So ゴミ捨てた means took out the trash. So as for him, 彼はゴミ捨てた took out the trash と思います. So I think he took out the trash. もう知ってると思いますが So the が, I'm slipping this in, but が in this case means but. It's kind of like けど. So however, ... trailing off. So も, as we learned a couple lessons ago, already 知ってる. So already know と思います. I think you already know this, but ... And now we are on to the review portion of this lesson. So first a reminder, don't learn your Japanese just from me. Learn from all the other sources that I have in the video description below. It's great to have a lot of different teachers, a lot of different methods of learning to enrich your experience. Also, when you are reviewing these sentences, I have timestamps of all of the sentences that I'm going to say in the video description and in a pinned comment at the top of the comment section, so you can choose your own adventure. Click on whichever one you want me to say and then pause and then repeat the sentence and do whatever sentences you want over and over again and change the speed in your audio playback. 遅れてすみません。寝坊したんです。どうしてピザがそんなに好きですか？おいしいんですから。君のことが好きなんだ。あの人、英語上手ですね。カナダ人なんです。彼女が可愛いと思います。旦那ちゃんの車が速いと思います。それが一番いいと思います。彼女が真面目だと思います。彼は教師だと思います。彼女は明日帰ると思います。明日は本を読みたいと思います。彼はゴミ捨てたと思います。もうしてると思いますが。Thanks for watching! In the next lesson, we're going to keep things vague with probably and maybe, and I'm planning on doing things with でしょ、だろう、多分、かもしれない, and つもりです. Thank you to all the patrons who support this and the other series on this channel. If you felt like that was too easy, look at the video in the playlist floating above my head. One is for learning Japanese through anime songs, and the other is learning Japanese through episodes of Sailor Moon. Those are more the intermediate, advanced level. So check those out if this was too easy for you. But this was not too easy for you, then I hope to see you in the next lesson. Mata ne!